This is a Big Blue Crew production.
Hey, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? These nuts. Got it. Got it.
All right, what's going on YouTube? What's going on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all platforms? Welcome to another episode of Giants Interactions with Big Pat Sports Talk, and you all know who the guy to right, left. I don't know which one, but the classified one, 3F with Joe. We told you we was gonna give you part two to part one, Giants Interactions, talking about the voluntary mini camp. We did the Joe Schoen interview on that one. Well, guess what? Part two. We're gonna give you the Joe Schoen and Dabo interview after the draft. They're gonna be talking about their draft picks and how they went about the draft. And I think this is very interesting. We're gonna get some very good content here. First, I'm just going to ask Joe, what did he think about this draft coming up, and this draft that happened? I'm sorry, not coming up, but the draft that happened. What do you think their tactic was, and just talk about it for a second.
Oh, Pat, love doing these videos with you and everybody watching, man. If you like this content, make sure you subscribe to both of us, me and Pat Classified, our other partner, G Nation. His link will be down below. Please subscribe to all three of us. Hit that like button, ring that bell, get notified when we go live with these videos. We have a lot of fun with this, and we're hoping that you'll join along with us in these series that we're going to be doing this summer, talking about the Giants and other teams around the league as well. So it's going to be a lot of the NFC East, what other divisions, we definitely break into that also. So if you've got a question or you want to see something, drop it down below in the comments, please. That gives us something to create a video and bring that information out there to all you nice folks that are kind enough to subscribe. I loved the draft, Pat. I absolutely loved it. Everyone was saying, well, I'd take this guy in the second round, but we didn't. We took a different guy. And it's like, how could you pass on that guy? And then it's, well, he's in the third round. Why did you pass on him? Well, every other team passed. Oh, my goodness. Let me giving you some editing, Pat. I'm sorry. Yeah, every other team passed on. I'm going to give you some editing. I'm sorry. Every other team in this division passed on these players until the third, fourth round. They were there for a reason. The Giants didn't pick them up because every other team saw it too. That's why they dropped into the third, the fourth, the fifth rounds, went undrafted. Every other team saw problems with this guy too. So while you say this guy's a stud, this guy's a player, Giants aren't the only team that passed on him. To where if they got picked 101st, the teams liked 100 other players than that guy that everybody else fell in love with. You fell in love with them because the media hyped, just like the quarterbacks. I said they were going to get a lot of hype. Now, only one went in the first round, and I was wrong on that. I figured one would go top 10, but it was thought about, and it was talked about, and it was definitely a chance of that happening. And that's what happens every year, is that the hype builds the draft, and that's what gets fans excited. And then when your team calls a player's name that these guys have been talking about, that gives you so much hype. But when a guy's drafted and you don't know who this guy is, do a little research first, please, before you say he sucks. Who is he? Because you don't know if he sucks because you don't know who he is. I got to get that out there. But from top to bottom, 1 through 6, the trade backs, Pat, I called them friggin' trade backs, man.
Yes, you did.
Knew what was going to happen. Last year I called trade backs. They happened. You could just see this developing. You saw it coming. When Shane said in his interview when he was hired, we got 11 draft picks. How many did he wind up with?
11.
There you go. He knew what he was talking about from day one. He let it slip and nobody caught it.
Yep.
So he traded back. He saw the monsters. All these guys we drafted are in the top tier of college football in statistics. They've got an upside. They know how to do multiple roles. They want to plug and play. Oh, this guy's hurt. Okay, boop, I got this guy. This guy's
Yep.
hurt. Boop, got this guy. That's what we're going, and that's what we're going to talk about. I cannot wait to break this down.
Exactly. I'm gonna give my little spiel, and then we're gonna get right into the interview. So we won't keep you here for 3 hours. But I think they had a plan coming into this draft, and I think it worked out masterfully. They wanted Neal, they wanted Thibodeau. They found a way to get both of them. Don't know how that happened. I'm still dumbfounded about that. Like,
I know.
it couldn't have worked out any better. The second round, Wandale Robinson, 91.3 grade as a receiver, tops in the FBS, over 100 catches,
Yes.
over 1,300 yards, and 8 touchdowns at Kentucky. No, he's only 5'8". Okay, yeah. How tall is Tyreek Hill? How tall is McCole Hardman? Oh, we already got Kadarius Toney on the roster. Okay, Tyreek Hill was already on the roster when they got McCole Hardman. And a lot of people were saying, what are you doing? You already have a Tyreek Hill on your roster. Well, guess what? They have a plan. That scheme is so wide open that if you got 2 speedsters like that could take the top off the defense, or if you get them a quick screen and they make one player miss and take the top off the defense still.
Yep.
Not to mention that we got Saquon Barkley, who's a way better running back than Clyde Edwards-Helaire can ever be when he's healthy. Just saying. Then the third round, we got the guard, and I'm really rooting for this guy because I hope he's able to make a career for himself enough to do what he wants to do. He wants to help out all kids who's grown up with stutters.
Yes.
I could just imagine the jokes and everything that was told about him when he was growing up in school.
I had a good friend.
To be that mammoth of a man with a stutter, you're a very easy target. And I'm extremely proud of him. And if I was his teammate, if anybody mentioned anything about his stutter on the field, I'll be kicked out the game. Because you're going to learn that you don't talk about somebody that has, I'm not going to say a disability, but
it is.
I don't know if that's considered a disability or not.
It is. It is considered a speech impediment. They are considered disabilities, Pat.
If any one of you so-and-sos, I can't say what I want to say.
Right.
Decide that you want to get bold enough to try to make fun of somebody because he has a disability, you can see me.
Me too.
And he's big enough to beat the crap out of you himself. But guess what? I'm going to do it for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just real talk, man. If I see anybody on Twitter saying anything about that, I'm going to say something.
Yes.
Because that's not right.
In the chat even too, Pat.
Right. How great of a guy that is who grew up with a speech impediment like that, but got into a 3rd round pick of a franchise of the New York Giants. You can't do half the stuff that he's done. And he has a disability. You imagine how hard it is for that guy to go into those interviews and speak.
Mm-hmm. Or just to play at the line of scrimmage.
Right.
He has to call out blocking assignments. And when you got a speech impediment, I got a good friend that grew up with like that in high school. And yeah.
Imagine how much confidence a coach has to have in you, putting you in at center, knowing that the center has to call out the line assignments and he has a speech impediment. Think about that. How good of a player you have to be when he knows that you have a stuttering problem. You have a speech impediment. Sorry, I'm not going to say stuttering problem, speech impediment. And you have to call out the assignment. Now, maybe in the back of my head, I'm thinking that when he's in the heat of battle, it don't matter. He talks very well when he's in the heat of battle because he doesn't have to think about it. He's just going off reaction. Hey, you got to go here, go here, go here. You're not thinking about, man, I got to stutter. No. you're just in the heat of the moment. You're in battle. So hopefully that's what it is. But if not, that's even more to his testament of being a good player. Because if you put in a position like that where you have to speak and everybody has to listen to your call, a play has to be adjusted. If those linemen can't get that adjustment, you're messed up. Somebody's going to get knocked the hell out. And for him to be put at center in North Carolina, and they had one of the best offensive lines in FBS this past year, especially when it came to running the ball, that's damn good, bro. So I don't want to hear anything about this guy.
Can I say something real quick, Pat?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Now, look, this is just a movie, but it also affects this situation. Do you remember when the one coach on the replacement said, how am I going to teach a deaf tight end the playbook? And the coach said, well, you're going to write down the plays, and he's never going to go off sides. And he hit him on the chest and walked away. Look at the positives of what he's doing. You know, Pat just broke it all down. Here's a man who has a problem, overcoming it with hard work, dedication, performance. You know, we have people in the chat that do the same thing. They overcome obstacles with hard work, dedication, and performance.
Tudo.
Yeah, that's how that's how you strive to be the best, and that's what this young man is doing. And it's hard when you can't communicate, because we see kids every day with like ADHD or ADD, Pat. Their problem is they're mad and upset because they can't communicate. Communication. Exactly. That's what this all boils down to. But
yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it boils down to. And like I said, commend to him, man, for being able to overcome that, because football is one of the most communicative sports that you have to be in besides basketball.
And here's another one, Pat. That young man that introduced the 5th round pick of the New York Giants, or the 5th overall pick. You know what? That man, young man right there, kudos.
Right.
Kudos. Took the most of his moment. He was even on the NFL Network for 15 minutes, guys.
Yeah. Announcing. Yeah.
Yes.
That's overcoming.
Yes.
And I was glad that he calmed himself down, because he was so hyped. He started breathing hard. I was like, holy crap. Please don't overexert yourself and have a not a heart attack, but have a panic attack.
Yeah. He wasn't. He was all fired up, man. That didn't get you fired up. I know that got Thibodeau fired up.
Right.
Because he let out a hoot. He's like, yeah, somebody's excited for me. Yeah. And that kid was, oh, man, that
kid was amazing. I loved it. I
love that we brought that up into this stream, Pat. That just, that just brings a fire to everybody.
Right.
Let's see somebody succeed like that.
Exactly. So the second, third round pick. Who's the second, third round pick, man? It's losing me. We picked the offensive lineman. Damn it.
I know. The
cornerback, Flott.
Yeah,
LSU, Flott. He's overcome a lot as well. His freshman season was one of his worst season, and it wasn't even close. Then Stingley went down. Guess who they called to step up and come and play? Him. Then the COVID happened his senior year. He turns out to have the best FBS grade for cornerbacks as far as not being completed against.
Yep.
Not one of, he was the best. And everybody, my famous Joe, like, who's this guy? We don't see another clue.
Right.
Who's this guy? Oh my God, he sucks. You could have picked someone else.
Right.
Well, just imagine having the depth of having a guy that's ready to come in and playing on special teams, that was number 1 in the FBS of completions put against him. Had a lower rate than Stingley. And it was lower rate than Stingley in his freshman year, which was one of the best cornerback years in FBS history.
Oh, I see people on Twitter, Pat. They're breaking down this kid now slot, and well, he doesn't work in man to man, and he's a coverage, and he's a no man.
He's a football player, man,
Right, he plays football.
and he's hungry. Do you know that every last one of our picks can have a chip on their shoulder?
Yeah, you think Thibodeau doesn't have a chip on his shoulder?
Thibodeau said he was the best player in this draft, and was supposed to go number one. But I got my theory on that. I'm bringing out my Thibodeau video.
Right, me too.
So I'm gonna save a little bit on that.
Yep.
Evan Neal was considered the number one pick overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars himself. And he didn't even go as a top tackle. Iquano went before him.
Right.
You don't think that he has a chip on his shoulder? You don't think he remembers all the reports talking about his weight? Shit, he has ammunition from us.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
To be honest with you, he could give us the finger if he wanted to. See,
but I was never against him. I was never against him being trapped.
We did say some things that, hey, look, his feet needs to get better, and he may be the third ranked offensive tackle.
Yep.
But it
wasn't derogatory.
No, it wasn't derogatory, but he's an athlete.
Right.
And he's an alpha athlete at that.
Yes.
He could definitely turn around and be like, hey, give us the finger.
Right.
I wouldn't mind. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, you're bad. No. I said what I said. You shut me up. You have the right to do that.
But it's not like we didn't want him on the team either, Pat.
Right.
We did want him if he was the pick.
I never said I would be mad if we picked him.
Right. Right.
But I thought Iquanu was better. I just did. But hopefully, like I said, he proves me wrong. Go out there and show that you were the best tackle in this draft. And if it came out to be like, hey, Big Pat Sports Talk, I told you, right. You know what you can kiss. Hey, look, I'm gonna be like, hey, my bad, big bro.
Right. I'll eat crow, wrong. But I'm not kissing your butt. But I'll eat crow. I'll eat crow. I was wrong. I'll come out with a 20-minute video you want. Yep, I was wrong. I'll buy your shirt. I'll buy your jersey.
I
wear it proudly, too. I was wrong. This guy is freaking fantastic.
Wandale Robinson. Look at the stuff that you guys said about him when he was picked.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a New York Giant for 30 seconds.
I'm sorry, don't mean to laugh, but damn it, Pat.
Think about it. He wasn't a New York Giant for 30 seconds before. We suck. Joe Shane's no better than Dave Gettleman. Didn't look at his stats. Didn't look at his route running. You didn't even know the guy. But you bashed him as soon as his name was soon. They even announced it because you probably were looking at Twitter or something and it popped up before they even announced it. And you were already going in on him.
Yep.
The offensive guard from North Carolina. It came out the reporter that people believe that he was a second-round talent, but he fell to us in the third. Great. But he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, and he has a purpose. I love guys like that. He has a purpose.
Yep.
That man literally said, I'm going to start and advocate for kids that have stuttering problems like me, to get them the help that they need and give them the confidence that they need to grow up and go and do whatever they need to do. And don't feel bad because you have a speech impediment, because that's tough. If you have a business and you go into a business meeting with people that want to invest and you have a problem talking, that's hard. Those people have to have a lot of humility in that room and have a lot of understanding not to go and turn off from you because you're having trouble speaking.
Right.
I do, but a lot of people don't have that heart. A lot of people are a-holes. And it's hard for people like that. It's hard for kids growing up like that. I've actually had to defend someone that had a speech impediment when I was in school. You're not going to talk about him like that, not in front of me.
Right.
Now, if you want to fight this out, we can do this all day, every day, because I'm coming back. Even if you win, you still going to know that you fought me. But you're not going to do that to him. What's wrong with you? That's crazy. That might be my favorite draft pick. I want that dude to succeed because I know what he's going to do when he gets his money. And I hope he balls out. I promise you I'm going to be cheering for that guy.
Me
the
too.
whole time.
Me too. But it's 20-minute mark, Pat. Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
Right. We're going to get into the footage before we get into this too long.
Right.
But I just wanted to say that about that. And that's amazing to me, man.
I'm glad that we discussed that. That was high on my priority list too. But here we go, guys. This is after the draft.
All right. Can you see it?
Yep.
All right. All right, folks. Let's get into it.
So Daniel Bellinger was our first pick today. Tight end out of San Diego State, a guy that we like. Size, speed, athleticism. Should be able to help us on special teams. Was at the Senior Bowl. We were at his pro day too. A guy we've liked throughout the process. Dane Belton, another guy we like. The versatility in the player. He's got ball skills. He can play from depth. He can play down in the box. He can play nickel. So the common theme you'll hear is versatility on a lot of these guys. Micah McFadden, from Indiana. Again, another guy with very good size, speed. He's a captain. He's athletic. So, I think he'll help us out. He can play inside, outside, and he's a good blitzer as well. So, again, another versatile piece. DJ Davidson, see him more as a nose out of Arizona State. Be a good depth player that has some upside. We're excited about working with him inside. Again, we're trying to add some depth up front there. Marcus McKeithen, another guy, obviously, we spent some time with the North Carolina kids. Huge human being, very good size, length. Again, some versatility. He's played tackle. He's played guard. Again, going to add depth and competition to the roster. We'll probably start him at guard, but he does have tackle flex. And then Darian Beavers is another guy that we really liked. Versatile piece. He played inside and he played outside. I was at his pro day. He did some stuff as an outside rusher, and that looks like something that may be part of the package. So like his versatility to be inside, outside, and play on special teams. So excited about the young men that we added today. Again, everybody's going to come in here and compete no matter where you were drafted. And, these guys are no different. So we're excited about the players we added.
All right, let's go off that real quick. He gave you a list of the players that they added, and I think we got very good value at each round. I like what he said, man. He said these guys are going to be come in and they're going to compete, and that goes for the whole roster. That sounds like a guy that has control.
Yes.
And I think this guy has built an actual roster that's here to compete. Like, these guys are literally going to be competing. Daniel Jones is even going to be competing with Tyrod Taylor. Saquon Barkley, I think they got the plan for the running backs. He's not going to have to compete for anything, but he shouldn't. He's Saquon Barkley. The tight ends, we have 4 tight ends. We didn't even have 1 tight end before we came into this offseason. We got 4 that are going to be competing for playing time.
Yep.
Offensive line, my goodness, it's going to be a free-for-all on that offensive line.
It ain't none of the guys from last year outside of Thomas going to be back. Well, Pert and Lemieux will, but I don't expect Pert and Lemieux to be on this team, to be God's honest truthful with you, unless they stand out.
That's true. I know Lemieux is cleared, but the climb is steep for Lemieux, man. He's going to have to show something, bro.
It is.
You're going to have to show something, man. I mean, the receiver room is crowded.
We can only keep 9 linemen on the team for a game.
And we got what, like 15, 16?
Yep. It's a lot more than we had last year, isn't it?
Like guys are going to be competing, man.
And it's going to be interesting to see if they're true to their word, what they're saying right now. The best guy will play. So if one of these rookie tight ends balls out and beats all these other, and he starts, then Shane and Dabble are going to be men of their words. But if he doesn't start, he's not ready. Let him get ready. Let him develop. Let these guys bring them along this year. Look, I'll say it again. Roche and Ojulari were brought along under the old regime, but they balled out at the end of the year. They were brought in right. You look at Aziz right now. He understood last year what he had to do. That man went out and bulked up. That man's ready for a starting position. He had a lot of sacks. He's got stars in his eyes, and he is hungry as all get out. That's what you want on this team, those guys.
Exactly. All right, let's continue into the interview.
Few of these guys said they had 30 visits, or Brandon went out and I think the tight end had dinner with them. Like, were these guys you identified it early and then really honed in on them? How does that process work?
Yeah, that's a good question. Typically, that's what happens. When I first got here, the first meeting with the scouts was in February, so kind of identified players that we were interested in, and then who we need to get around a little bit more. So a lot of these guys, not to show my hand in the future, but you guys are good at tracking this stuff. But yeah, I mean, we want to feel comfortable with the individuals as well as the player, and I think pretty much all these guys we spent a significant amount of time with, whether it was coming here or going to see them.
What did you think of your first draft? I mean, was there anything that sort of was really different for you or surprised you?
Yeah, I'll probably have to reflect on this tomorrow and throughout next week. It's just different, you're you come in with a whole new staff, so you got your process in place, but where you used to look for answers when you had questions, you're looking to different people, different scouts in the room that you haven't worked with, and our staff did a tremendous job. The coaching staff did a tremendous job. So just still getting to know our roster as it is, again, not being around a lot of these guys for a while, getting to know the new coaches. That's just all that'll come with time, and working with each other. But overall, it was a good process, and I really enjoyed it.
Joe, did this?
All right, let's talk about that point real quick. You guys got to remember, this guy came to us in February. So he only had 2.5 months to prepare for this?
Yep.
2.5 months to prepare for a draft. That's one of the biggest drafts in Giants history. A lot of people are saying it, and it is, because this is a rebuild. It's probably like the draft when Ernie Accorsi first got here. One of the biggest drafts in Giants history. If we bomb this draft, we're probably in another 5 to 6 years of purgatory.
Yep.
And to ask a fairly young man, he's around my age. He's only like 5 years older than me. I think he just turned 40, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so too.
So you come in with a brand new staff that you have to get. This is your first time hiring the whole staff. Now, I don't know if he was given the ability to hire staff in Buffalo. Considering how this guy is, they probably did trust him to hire some staff over there in Buffalo. But as far as being the GM, the man, this was his first time coming into an organization that has aspiration for championships, the New York Football Giants, and we were a dumpster fire. And you had to go into this draft and know that you had to hit on just about every pick. I'm not saying superstars. I'm talking about people that can contribute for every pick.
Average or above.
Yep. And I think he did it. I mean, we still have to wait and see. We still have to see the results, but I think he did it. I think it's one hell of a job to go into a situation like this with brand new people, brand new training staff, brand new scouting team, brand new head coach. Although they do have rapport from where they came from, which was a great thing. That's why I love that they brought Dabo over here with him.
Yep.
Well, he brought Dabo over here with them because they had a rapport, so they have a plan. And that's all you really need in certain situations is a plan. But go ahead, Joe. I don't want to.
No, that's all right because I want to go into the scouting a little bit. Did you hear him? We talked to the scouts. We saw who had to go where. The media is pretty good at tracking us down, so we're going to have to change some things around so you guys don't get wind of what we're doing. You never heard that from any of the GMs.
Right.
I mean, even a Corsi didn't say that. You know, here you are. You got this kid right now, and Shane. He's a kid. I mean, I'm 52. He's 40. 12 years difference. Taking in other people's considerations of how this guy would be a talented football player on this roster. He's looking and saying, well, you think we ought to sign this guy as a UDFA? And he's listening to people. He's not sitting up there going, nope, I got what I want. I'm done. Not going to worry about it anymore. I'm going to go up to my house and sit in the attic, put my mask on, and get my big old thick book out and read it. Why? The draft's done. All right, now you got to still continue to build the team. He's still looking. He even came out and I don't know if he says it here, but he came out and said, now we got to wait for cuts. We got to see what team is cutting what player, where they were drafted, if they were drafted, how are they going to contribute to our team? Because we're still not at 90 men, are we yet, Pat?
No.
So
We
he still has room.
Man, we're still far away from 90 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but we still have a lot of room and holes to fill, so there's more depth that's going to be coming in. And
Right.
everybody knows when they come here, you're going to be fighting. Prepare for a fight. You want that big paycheck? Fight for it right now. You can get it. Fight for it.
Yep. And that's what we didn't have at the previous regime. But, I mean, great context right there. I definitely appreciate what they did in a short amount of time.
Yes.
You got to think this guy did way better than what Dave Gettleman did 5 years here in 2.5 months. Think about that.
Yep.
That's past night and day. I don't know what that is.
And if you'll notice another thing too, real quick, Pat, have you ever seen Shane without Dable?
No.
Have you ever seen Joe Shane go out without Dable? Those guys are attached at the hip, folks.
Unless it was mandatory that it was just a GM.
Right.
Other than that, no.
Right.
They have a very good relationship. Pause, but they do.
Hey.
Go very much like you've been accustomed to the last 4 years in Buffalo and other places, or did you kind of have to adjust a little bit this year and you would like to make more adjustments, it's maybe more of your crew next year, things like that?
Yeah, no, it went pretty much how I would plan it to go. The only difficult part was with the players being in here 2 weeks early, with a new head coach. So our schedule, when we typically would have kind of had uninterrupted meetings for a week or two with the coaches involved, those days were a little choppy. We had to move our schedule around, but overall, the process will stay the same, that we had this year. It'll start now, May and June. We'll already start looking at the players for next season. Our scouts have already, gotten a list of the top 5 UFAs, top 5, players from their area. So, next week, I may take a week, but we'll start looking down the road, what the players look like through free agency or the draft next week. You had a pretty significant draft.
Yeah.
Already.
Already. They were already looking at the top undrafted free agents already. And he was talking about the next year's crop in June. So they're already working on it. So that tells you that these guys know that this was not going to be easy. They know the situation that they came into, and they have a plan. And I'm hoping that their plan goes to fruition because they have a plan, folks. Whether you want to say it or not, or whether you want to be optimistic, that's your choice. I'm not saying that they are just the best GM and coach duo ever. I'm just saying that this is way different from what we've seen. They have a plan. They're going to go through with that plan. If they fail, they fail. If they succeed, they succeed. And that's all you can ask for in the owner, in my eyes, from your GM. Tell me your plan. If I like the way your plan sounds, let's see where your plan goes.
Yep.
And we'll count the roosters when we get to that point. But go ahead, Joe. Look like you
No,
got
man,
got
I
something
can't
that you
add
wanna say.
anything to that. I mean, that's just spot on right there. How many YouTube content creators are looking at next year's draft class Monday? How many fans are looking at next year's draft class Monday? Who are you guys looking for in them 4th, 5th, 6th round gems? I know I ain't got time to do it. It's not my job, but I just sit here and make videos for fun on what's going on and what the future is. But for me to sit here and I mean, I'd be sitting here 20 hours a day, Pat.
Right.
I ain't got that time.
That's one hell of a tough job.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The way I've never looked into a GM job the way I've looked into it this year. And I have to admit, man, this job sounds tough.
Mm-hmm.
This job sounds absolutely tough. And he's gonna have a lot of gray hair in about 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he's gonna have a lot of gray hair within 2 to 3 years. Because the amount of stress that's on. Can you imagine having to look the next year's draft? You don't even know where the hell you're picking.
Yeah, but if we win 9 or 10 games this year, Pat, a lot of that stress is going to disappear because he's going to have an idea what he needs to do to get better.
I think this is the type of cat that 100% go all the damn time.
I do too, but he's relaxed doing it. Look how relaxed he is.
Yeah, he has a very good poker face for sure.
After 3 days of mind-boggling trades and calls and transcripts and paperwork that this man has seen and everyone he's talked to, look at how relaxed he is. He didn't look. He looked just like he did before the draft.
The amount of travel.
Yeah,
these dudes are traveling all over the country, going to these pro days and everything. And he's the GM that's involved. He's going with Coach Dabo.
Man, for his interview, he had to sit in the back of the plane next to the lavatory.
Right.
Yeah, I want this job. He's proven he wanted it. He's proven it, and right now he's proven that he's going to change this franchise around. We're winners. That's what he wants. It's going to happen.
It's crazy, man.
Loving it.
All right, let's get back to the interview.
Draft class 11 players. Do you guys anticipate bringing in some undrafted free agents? Like how big of a class do you anticipate in terms of that?
Yeah, as soon as the draft's over and we can start working on that, we will. We still have some defensively, I think is when we're going to have to add. Again, when we got here, where the roster was, we had to add a lot of pieces, and there's only so many resources, so we did the best we could this weekend, and we'll continue to do that in free agency. And again, players might have gotten drafted over, somebody else. So what that means is maybe next week there's going to be some cuts, and there may be some veterans that are on the street because they drafted over players on their current roster. So, we don't play until September. Again, our location in the claim order, the final cut down will be important, or as players are cut. So, again, the rosters, it's never finished. It won't be finished during the season. We'll always be looking to upgrade.
That's another thing that's another new thing that this new GM and coach bring. I know. Oh, dang. I'm so excited about the new coaches. I forgot the old damn coach name. Shit.
Oh, Judge.
Yeah, Joe Judge. There we go. Shit, I don't forgot about him.
Hey, I get them too.
Joe Judge had a little bit of this, but I don't think he had enough prestige to do it the way they can.
Yes.
If you see where I'm going with it, I don't think he had enough. He didn't have enough rank.
Clout.
Yeah, he didn't have enough clout to do what they're doing right now. Yes. They're coming from an organization that's a winning organization and turned it around.
Yep.
Joe Judge was a nobody. He was a special teams coach. And the views that he was trying to bring over, I could actually get it with the views that he was trying to bring over. We want to be a tough team. We want to be a tough running team,
right?
And we're gonna get players and see what they can do instead of what they can't. That's a good philosophy, but you have to have, I guess you want to call it clout to back it up, and you have to have an organization and a GM that can back you up as well. Yeah, and I don't think him and Gettleman were on the same page at any point in time.
And then you got the offensive coordinator Garrett and Mara stepping on toes.
Right. I think it was just a bunch of individuals
Yep.
hoping they could do the best they could
Yep.
at their position.
Yep.
And then you had a couple of individuals like the offensive line coach Jason Garrett and Gettleman that checked out. I know they did.
Yep. Colombo
You can't tell me that the offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach, and the GM, just the GM and the offensive coordinator didn't check out a long time ago. I think Dave Gettleman checked out as soon as Joe Judge was hired.
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Gettleman checked out 2 years ago.
Yep.
But we
Going
have a
through the
GM. Yep, going through the motions. Just man, let me get these last couple of checks, and I'm gonna go ahead and retire. And as well as he should, because he was in the league for over 30 years, so he earned the right to check out. To be honest with you, unfortunately, we were the team that he checked out on. But
yeah,
I think we have a coach and a GM that's together. They have a plan.
Man, things happen for a reason. Okay, we've had our cloud over our heads for a long time as Giants fans, and we're starting to see sunshine and daylight. It's coming. I'm telling you, the daylight is breaking through.
Right. Man, yeah. I like this combo, man, but let's continue on.
Yes.
Joe, it doesn't seem like you found a replacement for James in this draft class. At some point, does the contingency plan for him have to become the plan for him, or do you have to make a call on this?
Yeah, we're going to work on that. We've had some conversations. I've talked to his representative, so we'll see where that goes. I don't have a definitive answer on that right now, but we're working towards some contingency plans.
When would you like to have an answer on that?
We really, I'm not going to put a timeline on it as we're working through this, so I don't know how long it'll take, but we're working through some things.
Joe, for years, people were saying 60.
Okay, I want to answer one thing about that before we continue on.
Okay.
This is the one thing that I think, I'm not going to say backfire on them, but this is the one thing that they had a plan for and it didn't work out. So I want to see how they handle this adversity, because I think they truly wanted to trade him to get that money to sign the draft picks. And I think those teams backed out. That's what I truly believe. I think those teams I think they had a plan to trade him either to the Chiefs or the Colts for like a third-round pick, and at the very last second, they backed out. And I believe Bradberry thought that he was gone. And now the question is, how disgruntled is Bradberry with them? You see what I'm saying? That's the only time I've ever seen him flustered with a question. Have they rubbed Bradberry the wrong way too far? And now Bradberry does not want to come back, and they don't have a trade partner, and they don't want to cut him because it wouldn't make sense for either side. Because if they had to cut him, they should have cut him in the beginning to be fair to him and let him find a team. And if they were going to cut him in the beginning, they should have did it, because now you're only going to get 10 million when you could have got 13 million. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So this is the only thing that I'll go ahead, Joe.
We're going to have to do an interactions on this.
Yeah, this is the only thing I see that backfired on them. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it.
Yeah, we're gonna have
backfired on them.
I want to take like an hour and really break that down. Think about it for a little bit, because while I got a feeling you're right, I just got a feeling I'm missing something right now, and I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, it's something about this Bradberry thing that's not being reported. It's something that's not being reported, and it's something they want to keep in house.
Yes.
I've never seen him get disgruntled with a question. So something happened, and I don't know if it's on Bradberry's part. More than likely not. Something happened on their part, and my guess right now, before we get to the Giants interactions with that one, I'm just gonna leave it at this. My guess right now is somebody backed out on them.
I can
Somebody
see
told them, yeah, we're gonna do it, and then they thought about it, like, nah, and they're like, what?
that. Right.
And Bradberry thought he was gone, and
Well,
maybe he's checked out on them.
like I said, I got something, but I want to save it for that Giants interaction.
Cool. Let's get back into the interview.
Yes.
The offensive line. Since you two have been here, I think you brought in 6 free agents, drafted 3 guys. You have guys coming back who have been hurt. You have veterans. I mean, do you have enough bodies, do you think?
I think so. We got some big bodies too. So I think I told you guys at the combine, maybe we had 5 healthy bodies, offensive linemen on the roster. And again, that's kind of my point. Like there was several holes, and we didn't have a lot of depth throughout the roster. So start there, start up front. Let's see the best version of Daniel Jones we can, and it starts, I think, by hopefully keeping him on his feet, and that's going to help Saquon, and that's going to help the receivers because they have more time to get him the ball. So I think with the upgraded offensive line, which hopefully we did, see how the competition in training camp goes, but. Yeah, I'm happy where we are with the depth overall.
So they did exactly what we asked them to do, right?
Yes. I
He did
I
exactly what was asked.
I want to point out something real quick. This whole interview process, we're up to what?
45.
44. Look at Dabble sitting next to him.
Oh yeah.
Look at our head coach. Look at our head coach right now. Look at that look in his eyes. He's looking at these reporters like, are you going to just let us go so I can go get with my team? I can work on my playbook. I can work with my players. I can get these kids that we just drafted. I can get them up to speed. You're wasting my friggin' time. That's what I'm feeling off of Dabble right now.
Right.
In that look where you paused it.
Right. Like he's really tired of it.
Yeah. He wants to get to work.
You saw how happy he was when he was on the field.
Yes.
This looks nothing like that guy.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
He looks pissed. He's like, man,
yeah.
get this crap over with. Get me the hell up out of here.
Right. I got shit to do.
I got a whole new roster of players that I need to be attending to, and you sons of
yeah, exactly. You criticize,
right.
criticize. You ungrateful sons of guns. Yes.
That's the look that he has, but let's continue on. Yes. It's funny, though. I'm not going to lie.
When it comes to the war room, when you were setting up who's in there, how many guys, the way the whole setup is, I noticed that, here in years past, they've had coaches in there, they brought coordinators in. Did you put into the process who you wanted in there, why it was important to do certain things?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to be inclusive with the group. Those guys did it all a lot of the work. We had our pro department in there too, so they could just, see the process and some professional development just to see, how the process works. And our pro scouts also sat in some of the college meetings. So I'm just a firm believer in that everybody, we talk out loud, we have conversations, try to think big picture the best we can. And, if I can surround myself with as many of those people as I can, that's just going to bring ideas and we'll all be better. As for the setup of the room, I may want to change that a little bit. There was a different board this year, and I kind of like more of an open area in the middle. I'm a big pacer, but where I could go to the scouts and talk to them. So that's something we'll work on next year. But as for the coaches, that you may not have seen them, but they were in and out. Coordinators, position coaches. If it came down to two guys on defense, Wink may come in, or Kafka came in a few times for the offensive guys. So.
The other night when you said you hadn't seen Wink yet.
Yeah, I hadn't, and specifically that night because it was 5 and 7. It was going to be, it was back to back. So without having commotion or any distractions in there, we thought that was probably the best way to do it, and they kind of knew what we were going to do anyway. So.
Oh my God! I am sorry. I watched Dabble. He contained a yawn, and he's just sitting there tapping his finger, going, "Yep, this shit is boring as all get out." I'm sorry. All I did is watch Dabble on that one, and he's like, look at him right now. He's like, "Oh my freaking God, guys! Can you shut the hell up?"
Right.
I gotta get out of here. I'm sorry. It was funny.
They was talking about the war room right there. Who was in the war room? I seen Wink. That's why you probably will never see Wink on one of these interviews. Wink is worse than Dabo.
Yes. Yes.
No, Wink could probably say, man,
Man.
I'm getting the hell out of here.
Did you see that war room? Did
Yeah.
you see that war room?
We can
Mara
talk about
just
that
sat
for a
there,
second.
Shut up. And it's like everybody was sitting at tables. Look at the war room last year. It was Judge. It was Chris Mara. It was John Mara, or the Mara and Tish. And there was only, what, 6 guys in there? This year there was 25.
Right. They had scouts. They had the whole coaching staff.
Yep.
Minus Wink. I think Wink came in briefly and went back out. But
Right.
I mean, but
Wink's not that guy.
Joe Schoen controlled everything. When you looked at the war room, Joe Schoen was in control of everything.
He's standing up. He's the only one on the phone. He's the only one that had that stuff around him. Mara's had nothing around him. Tish was sitting at the other end of the table. It's like Tish is there as the bulldog. It's like Tish was the bulldog. Maris, keep your damn fingers out of this and let these guys do it. It was all.
Mara didn't say anything. They didn't even let Mara talk to the player.
Right. Or the press.
Right.
Or the press.
Mara was just there along for the ride.
His gums.
Yep. He's showing draft boards and everything with his crazy stuff.
Right.
But Mara didn't say anything.
Right.
But let's continue on.
Yes.
Anticipate making any changes to the personnel staff, whether it be subtractions, additions, anything like that going forward?
Yeah, I haven't even thought about that yet. I'm already fall asleep on this microphone.
In Buffalo, you guys concentrated on developing offensive linemen as well as drafting or acquiring starters. So, like, have you brought that same kind of plan to the Giants, and is that where some of these picks are coming into play?
Yeah, really across the board. We got a really good coaching staff, and I think X's and O's are very important as a coach, but also developing players. And Bobby Johnson has a very good track record from my time with him, as does Dave's and Shea Tierney. So you bring guys in that are wired the right way, that have traits, and they're all hands on deck in terms of developing these guys. And again, that's just the O-line, but the defense, we got some good coaches over there too. And a lot of these players have upside. And again, once you get in the second and third round, like those players are in the third round for a reason, or fourth round there for a reason, or sixth or seventh. When you take those guys, they're there for a reason. There's nobody's perfect. So the best we can do in terms of developing those guys and accentuating their strengths, is what the coaching staff will try to do.
And that's exactly what you want your coaching staff to do. You said that earlier. Those guys are dropping for a reason, wherever that reason may be for injury. Maybe because they don't fit your system. Maybe they didn't fit other people's system.
Right.
They drop for a reason. And when we take these players, we need our coaching staff to coach them up. And that's basically what he said. And I totally agree with it. Think about it, Joe.
Nope. I agree 100%. Look, I mean, nobody goes down the draft board for no particular reasons at all. There's always something. There's a red flag somewhere. And the farther you get into the draft, the bigger the red flags get. That's just life. Plain and simple life. The farther you drop, the more the red flag happens to be. If you've got a player which we had this draft, who I'm not naming names, but he refused surgery. Okay, that's a flag. All right. We know that football players go through surgeries every year. We hear these stories of guys that have been in the league for 10 years and they've had 40 surgeries. You've got to go in and get stuff cleaned up from calcium builds up. You've got to go in and get stuff repaired. When you're 350 pounds going up against somebody who's 350 pounds, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to damage tissues. It's the way of life. Even warriors did it back in the 1600s. They would get hurt and have to heal up and then go back into battle. That's what these guys are doing. They're going out into battle. They're healing up and going back into battle. And it's how fast can you recuperate? We all know that this is a league of the best ability is availability.
Yep.
You want the big money? I will pay you the big money. Go out there and play 17 games for me. And if you're a defensive end, I want 10 plus sacks a year. I will pay you. I will definitely make sure you get your bag of money. You help me win, I will pay you. Just like your job. You get the product out, I will pay you.
It's the way it works.
Right.
What were you trying to accomplish in your first draft, and how successful were you with the goals that you kind of came into? I know things change as you kind of move along. Like, would you think of the whole?
Yeah, versatility. I mentioned earlier. Guys that have versatility. We wanted to add depth and competition to the roster. Which I think we did. Again, it's not every guy's going to come as a starter, and it takes time. Guys got to develop, and again, Pat's question there, just develop, and good coaching, and over time, if you got to have depth players, you got to have front line players. I think the idea was to get the best that we could. Defensively, the guys with versatility, and offensively, as you're around Brian, you'll see he'll take the pieces and, whatever we have and develop the offense or scheme around, those pieces that we have. And Wink kind of adheres to the same philosophy. So,
Joe, kind of a big picture team building question. Where do you stand on the theory of building a team to compete in the division against the teams that you're going to be facing twice a year for the next, for every year?
Yeah. No, I think you got to pay attention to that. And, there's a lot of good D lines in our division. And, I think that's where the emphasis on the offensive line early on was important to us. So, we definitely always, I was in Miami forever. They had Gronk there for a while. So how are you going to defend this guy? Or, when they had Gronk and Hernandez, it was like, so you're always paying attention to that because you got to play that team twice a year. And the ultimate goal is to win the division, and the rest will take care of itself. So, we'll always be looking at that.
When a guy like McKeithen has some flex, but mostly plays guard, let's say, would you rather him have the versatility to play both, or sometimes does a guy have a position and you'd actually rather just hone in on that?
Yeah, you'll see here in OTAs when you guys are around, and then in training camp. I think we're big believers in mixing and matching as many people as we can early on, because you can only get so many to go to a game, and the more you can do, the more you can do. So most of the players, unless you're just really, really, really good at one spot, and that probably goes throughout our team, offensively and defensively, is as much versatility as you can have, the better it is for the team.
I agree.
All right. They brought up the versatility question there. I'm going to talk on a couple of things. Sorry. I want to talk on a couple of things about that. Do you think that we could be a team that goes in with different offensive lineup sets, even without injury?
Yes. I think that could happen. If somebody can produce better against another guy than the guy that's in there, I mean, they said they're going to play the best player available. Somebody is in practice looking better, and this guy's out there struggling, but I've got this guy who for the last 3 weeks has done nothing but improve. They'll throw him out there. Hey, can you do better? Yeah, coach. Well, go show me. If you can't, I'm going to yank you real quick. And that's going to also let everybody know, look, I'm not playing games here. You want to start, you want to play, produce. It's that simple. I have got to have you guys produce. Work on your technique more. If I see a guy that's out there on the field and he's doing nothing but working on his technique, but he's not getting better, there's something wrong. As a coach, I got to go over there and find out why he's not getting better if he's just constantly working for the last 2 weeks, but he's not improving. Is it him? Is it me? And that's an individual thing too. You can't cookie cutter that crap at all. You cannot just do the same thing over. Everybody needs a different attention. Everybody understands the playbook at a different level. Everybody understands the scheme at all different aspects of it. Because it's just like us sitting here on this panel with Lou. I look at one thing one way, you look at it another, and Lou has a whole different aspect of it. Just like us talking sports on this panel, those athletes are the same friggin' way. So why is he not getting better? Is that me or him?
That's a serious question, man, because now that I think about it, it's probably why they got so many freaking linemen.
Could be.
I think there's going to be a zero tolerance policy with the linemen.
Could be. Got enough people in there to do it.
Like if you can't pick up a stunt, you won't play today.
Go work out. That's why I got assistant coaches. Look, this guy's having a hard time picking up a stunt. Work with him. Tell me what you think for about 4 days. Okay. Works with him. Okay, here's what the problem is. Or he's just never going to get it. We got the guys at 15 linemen. Hey, bye. You're cut. I'm sorry. There's not going to be any generous offers on this team anymore like what Gettleman did with that freaking running back or with Rudolph. Or you're not going to see any of that crap anymore. It's gone. It's done. These guys aren't going to baby anybody. Well, I pay you more, so I'm going to play you. If these guys play somebody that is a 5th-round draft pick in, at week 5 because the guy we're paying $8 million a year can't perform, I know where these guys are going. Okay, they want the better player, so it don't matter about money. The guy out there right now that's, a 5th-round pick that's only been here for 6 games is out there outproducing you. Sit on the bench. Earn your job back. You do that, great. You don't, you're gone. That's what I want to see.
And I think Wink is the same damn way. And that's why they got all those people on defense.
That's why they said they want defensive heavy and UDFA too. I'm bringing in somebody that can take your job. And we all seen an undrafted free agent go out there and wreck people and earn the starting job. It happens. We only need one. You only need one. Victor Cruz.
It's a hell of a concept, man. And I could rub some players the wrong way.
Well, it is what it is. This is a business. You've said it time and time again. It's a business. We're here to win. Shane's not putting his job on the line for anybody. Sorry, Pat. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just the players that get rubbed the wrong way. Those are the players that you don't want.
James Bradberry. But we'll get into that on Giants Moment.
Yeah, let's make that.
Yeah. There we go. See?
Yeah. Talk about that on another show. But let's get back into the interview. That's just something that's food for thought, guys.
Yes.
Just food for thought.
Real quick.
Sure.
Defensive side, or you running guys that multi-diverse, their versatility. How excited you are, then you can change your defensive schemes because of the diversity of these skill sets.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Wink he's pretty diverse in what he's done the past few years when he's in Baltimore. We're still working through some things, just figuring out what our guys can and cannot do. So we'll see. We'll take it kind of day by day on that. But I think the smarter you can be as a football team, the better you are in terms of being able to put your best foot forward.
I know Bobby was at the UNC Pro Day and worked those guys out. How valuable was getting his input and letting him get in there and actually coach them up and seeing what that was like?
Yeah, it's always valuable. I think the process, Joe talked about this, the communication that we've had from the scouting department with the coaching staff, the people that set up the trips, it was very well organized, thought out. I thought the guys did a really good job. There's tons of, this morning I was watching a bunch of Zoom calls of potential guys we could pick. The coaches put a lot of time and effort into it in terms of, there was weekends off that they were out on the road, and the same thing with the scouting department. It's been a really good interaction with both sides. So 11 picks, 11 players, we'll throw them out there with the rest of the guys on the team when they get here and let them compete it out.
Hey, you said a good interaction. We're on Giant Interaction.
Right.
What a coincidence. Right. But it was good to hear Dabo speak, because I think he was getting a little pissed off earlier. Maybe he's calmed down a little bit. He's speaking. He's not sitting there bored out his damn mind. But I really think that, I'm not going to say it's going to be a bloodbath, but I think it's going to be war out there for these guys, bro.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is people are going to be competing for every second on that field, unless your name is a Kadarius Toney or Kenny Galladay or someone like that. You're always going to have those players that has their position, and nobody's going to be able to challenge them. A Xavier McKinney.
Right.
But everybody else,
look out. Look out. Yeah, because this interview, they're starting to get into basic vanilla questions, repeating themselves, just asking them a different way right now in this interview.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're at an hour, so we're probably going to get our final thoughts here. Just how do you feel about this whole situation here, man?
Man, the more we break this down each week, the more we do videos, the more we get involved with the chat and our subscribers and everything, the more that just keeps to be, it keeps just going in one direction for me. And that's the light at the end of the tunnel. I just love the positivity. I love the ideas that these guys are talking about. They're not just backing it up and then, they're not just saying it. The smoke screens that these guys put out in the draft, come on. Look at the turmoil. Yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau came out of the Giants interview. It was the worst interview, but we drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
Evan Neal, this and that, the bad injury report. It's rumored that the Giants put that out, and we drafted him. Okay, these guys went and did what they had to do to get the guys they wanted. In the second and third round, they traded draft picks so they could get the guys they wanted that they saw in the later rounds to get. What's the one thing Giants fans said we didn't have last year? Depth because of injuries.
Yeah.
We have depth. We have people that are interchangeable. So if you have a guy that's playing safety, but your corner gets hurt, you can move him to corner and then have Julian Love come in to back him up. Damn. I'll take them odds all freaking day. But if I get a corner hurt and I've got to count on the other corner because I've got nobody else and, he's a UDFA or it's week 2, the guy's nowhere up to speed and not ready at all and gets thrown to the wolves. Can't do that.
Right.
You're going to ruin him. Jake Fromm. That's all I'm going to say. Jake Fromm.
And we told you what was going to happen if you put that dude in there. We told you.
All right, it's all right. I'm not, please, I'm not coming at anybody. I'm talking about the situation. Jake Fromm went out, had a good drive, starts next week, it gets destroyed. That's where I'm going with because he wasn't ready. Wasn't prepared. You're not prepared, you're going to fail.
Right.
But when you're prepared, you're going to ball. And that's the key to winning football games. Getting guys prepared. And if Dabble and company gets these guys prepared, watch out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all you can ask, man. I think Joe Schoen has done his job. Now it's on the coaches.
Yes.
Now it's on the coaches. I have nothing to say to Joe Schoen. Nothing. He did his job.
Yep.
And now it's up to you guys to go out there and perform.
I agree.
That's
100%.
it.
Yep.
But I'd like to thank you guys for watching part 2 of the Joe Schoen draft interviews before the draft, and now you got after the draft.
Yes.
Told you we're gonna give you guys a part 2, and there you have it, man. I appreciate you, Joe, for being on here with me.
Nope, I appreciate you having me on.
2. And it looks like we got a lot more shows coming up. Yep.
You got to hit him with the old smoke screen, though.
All right. Well, until the next one, guys. Smoke screen.
Yes. Peace.
This has been a Big Blue Crew production.